Hello, everybody. So, welcome to the Winners Academy session. Today, it's going to be the last session, and it's the sixth session. Thank you for attending the Winners Academy, which is a series of online events that can help you to prepare for the contest season. With me in the Winners Academy team, we have Claudia Villarreal. She could not make it tonight. She is the Program Quality Director in the District 107. Me as a PR manager, and also we have our facilitator, Isidro Souza. Isidro, he is the current Division D director, and he won many titles within our district. The evaluation contest in 2018 and 3 times successive the international contest, and also he was the finalist of world champion in the public speaking in 2021. Now, without any further delay, let's jump in and let's make this session more enjoyable. Isidro, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Hanan. Today, good evening, everybody. Today, we will have a great session, and you may wonder why. Because we have our current champion, district champion, Akhil Gupta. Passionate and resilient, he has journeyed through Toastmasters, transforming from an ordinary speaker to become a district champion and representing our district in the semifinals of the World Championship of Public Speaking. Akhil will share his journey with us, will share the mantra of oneself. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters, our dear champion, Akhil Gupta. You are muted. You are muted.
Hey, I will do it again. Fellow Toastmasters, welcome to the last session of the Winners Academy. I guess you did not hear what I just said.
No.
I was just saying that subscribe to District 107 social network if you like this session. Okay, so, when Isidro asked me to give this session in the Winners Academy, I was just wondering what I can share. I'm not a professional speaker, but I have got the chance to compete at the different levels of the tournament, the competition, and reaching to the semi-final stage. I learned a lot of things on the way. So I thought, when we gave this speech title and everything to Isidro, I thought I would prepare a very nice set of tips, how to write a perfect speech, how to deliver it, and I will share it with all of you guys. But then the Winner Academy session started. I heard Christine's session. I don't know how many of you have heard it. She gave a great speech, great session on how to deliver a winning speech. So if you have not seen it, please see that on YouTube once it is there. Then I thought, okay, there are already a lot of tips in there. Maybe I will modify my speech and I will share something else. Then it was a chance of Wolfgang, and he shared how to write a great speech, how to write a winning speech. And I was like, okay, that's also across from my key points. Then it was Suleimani. He said how to use emotions in your speech. And I was like, shit, that I'm good at, but I'm not left with any of those either, right? And then came the session of Francisco. How to take all those and multiply and have a winning speech. So, there is a negative point in being the last, There is a positive point as well. The negative point is that I get to learn from all the previous sessions and I can modify my session accordingly. The negative point is that a lot of things have been covered. So I thought what I can talk about. So I decided, if you did not hear in the beginning, I was just chanting a mantra because the topic of the session today is called the mantra of oneself, right? So I thought I will share with you all my journey of how I felt from the beginning to the end, some of the things which I did, which I'm sure you will find out as you move on into your journey, some of the things which helped me in order to move to the next stage, apart from a great speech and a way of delivery. That's the basic things you need to have. But there are a lot of other things which I realized, which I was not aware of, during my journey between the beginning to the end. And I'm sure Isidro, please contribute at some of those things as you have also followed the same journey. So I will be more than happy that we make it a collaborative session and we share those things, right? So I decided something which I have experienced, which I can share with you. I will be following that in the session. I'm not a very structured speaker or a professional speaker, so I don't have the bullet point listed to you. I will be just giving you tips on what I think really made difference for me, what I learned. And after 1 year of the competition, if I reflect back, some of the soft things which helped me reach that far, which I think many of you will be moving to the next level, will be needing that, or you will be feeling that yourself. The first thing which I learned, in order to win a speech or in order to win a Toastmaster competition, there are three things which you need. Only three things. Number one, total self trust in your capabilities. I don't know the people, how many of you have competed, but a lot of times when you are about to compete the day before, on the day of the speech, or while you are giving the speech, a lot of self doubt happens. It happened to me before the speech. I was nervous. I wasn't sure whether I will be able to deliver a proper speech or not. I think the number one thing which I have seen what champions have is a total self confidence in their capability. That's what I call as self trust, meaning that you will do your best whenever you are on the stage and there is no single bit of self doubt. When I saw the finals, when I saw the semifinals with the people I competed, when they were on stage, they were ruthless. There was not a single bit of doubt in their mind that they are one of the best speakers around. For me, that will be my first tip to all of you. If you are competing, moving on to the next stage, don't self doubt, just move on with it. That's the first thing which you all need, which I think helped me. The second thing is what I call as a toolkit. And this is what I learned in all my journey of competing in the International Toastmaster competition. So, what is a toolkit? Toolkit composes of a lot of different things what we use while giving a speech, right? And I think a lot of those points have been discussed. So I will list to you some of those tool tips, key tool tips, which I think are very important. So sorry, I'm just missing my notes. So number one, for example, your body movements. That is one set of tool you have. Second, your voice variety. Third, the set of words which you can use. Fourth, the emotions which you can use. Fifth, your body movements on the stage. Why I call this as a toolkit? Because I realized as you move on in the competition, those people have a higher chance of winning who uses the maximum set of tools from this tool, right? So if you have seen the finals, you will see there are people who have practically used each and every tool out of this toolkit. All of these, we talk about how to give a good speech, how to talk about emotions, how to do body movement. There are a lot of different techniques. So I think if you want to compete, you want to win, choose the set of tools which you will like to use. And at every level you pass, make sure you are adding more set of tools into your speech. I think that's the second key thing which I learned. The third thing for me, it's a little bit controversial. I believe it's a little bit of luck that also plays a part into it. So what do I mean by luck? For me, luck is the things which are not under your control, right? So I have seen a lot of great speakers in different levels who were not able to pass to the next round. Does it mean they were not good speakers? Does it mean they don't have the caliber to win the competition? Probably not. Probably they just had a bad day that it has happened to me. I was lucky. In fact, the journey of my competition started, and that was the worst day in my club contest. I stuttered. I couldn't finish my sentences because I forgot. There were four people competing. I was the third one. The fourth one got disqualified. The second one could not go into the next level because she was busy on that day. So it was the first one and me who moved on. Right? So I was a bit lucky to start my journey. And the thing which I wanted to mention, it's very important to take this into the stride that maybe the person who won that competition on that day, maybe it was his day. It doesn't mean any of you who are competing are not a good speaker or a bad speaker. It's fundamental to understand that. At least that has been my learning. So let's take these three things. And if you have total self trust, the toolkits which you have, the set of tools which you know how to use, and a little bit of luck, you will reach very far into the competition. It is very important. One of the things, there are a lot of techniques which have been shared, and I believe you all are part of Toastmasters for many years. A lot of expert people are there, who can give you tips on how to use those tools. I mean, feel free to ask me, but again, my knowledge is limited on theoretical techniques, but there are a lot of people like I remember I was asking Isidro, he was explaining me while I was preparing a concept of a speech, and I was like, what he's talking about. I couldn't understand any of that. So there are a lot of very experienced people, which can help you while preparing your speeches, how to use that toolkit. Okay. So these are the three things from my point of view you need. But apart from that, I would like to share with you what happened or what I felt at every stage of the competition, not really at every stage, but while I was preparing the speech, the day before, on the day of the speech, and while delivering the speech. Because some of the things, if I would have known them earlier, maybe I could have done a bit better in some of the performances I gave, especially in the semifinals one. So I will just share with you all. So the first thing is while preparing and writing a speech, the first thing for me is for all of you to know what is your strength. It's very important. What I mean by that is, as I said, there is a toolkit. There are a lot of people who are very good in body movements. There are a lot of people who are very good in voice variety. There are a lot of people who are very good in words. Know your strength and play to it. Identify the set of tools which you can best use and use them while you're participating in the competition. And as you progress, enhance those set of tools. The second thing which I learned was it's a bit tricky to understand is to know your audience. I was very new in the competition. I was the first time competing. I didn't even know the structure that there is area, district, and all that stuff. So the speech which I gave at the area level, it has something which I don't think the context in Morocco would have been the right one, just because there were some local Spanish jokes in it. So I was very happy. I won the contest and I was ready to give my speech in Marrakesh. And when I was taking the help of the people, and they said, well, this joke will not fly in Morocco because it's very local Spanish context joke. So that is the second thing which I will suggest. Know whom you are going to talk to. Know your audience when you are going to talk to them in different sessions, because we are a very context specific people, or in general, the jokes which can fly in Spain might not have the same effect in Morocco or in US. Know your audience. The third one which really helped me is, while you're writing a speech, it's a very challenging task. I don't know how many of you feel because I can't see any of your faces. So I hope you all are there nodding your head. But writing a speech for a competition could be a very difficult task. So for me, what technique I use, one of the technique I used was, if I was preparing a funny speech or if I was preparing a serious speech, when I was writing it, I used to get in the mood from till the moment I started writing till I delivered it. I watched television series, which were a reflection of that mood. So for example, when I was participating in the fun speech contest, I watched comedy television series while I was writing the speech, because that helped me get into the mood. That helped me get some of the jokes, that helped me understand, maybe what jokes I can make. When you're writing a serious thing, it's good to watch some, maybe a drama or something. Well, that was my technique, guys. I'm not sure if it works on all of you, but I think that was the thing which really helped me to write a good content in the speech, to really get into the mood while I was writing. That's the thing which I will say when you are preparing your speech. The other point which I will like to mention, we talk a lot about vulnerability. Be vulnerable on stage. But I think for me, vulnerability means opening yourself up. One of the things which really helped me is all the guidance I got from different people along the speech contest at every stage. So for me, opening up means don't be shy of asking for help. You guys are going, if you win into the district, you will probably represent the full district, each one of us who is present there, right? So don't be shy to ask for help to anybody. At least I haven't felt that if I have asked for help, nobody has given it to me. And it really helped me prepare it well to give the speech, to practice the speech, and to get the feedback on the content of the speech. The other thing which helped me very much is don't choose soft people who will give you soft feedback. Choose the people who will give you hard feedback. There is one guy in my club, he's very good. He has competed many times. And I remember when I was writing my speech for the district contest, I used to give him, and he will say, you can do better, Akhil. There was a point of time when I started hating him, and I was like, come on, I don't want to see his message again. You can do better. This is best of me. I can't do better. There was a stage when I felt like that. So I think it's very important that you keep pushing yourself, because then it's the time when the best will come out of you. Don't look for a soft feedback. Look for a hard feedback, because that will help you prepare better and deliver better your speech. So these are the things which I did, or which I thought I did, which really helped me move forward. as I was moving into the contest. I have a bad day today. So I'm saying contest. Okay. Then I think the second thing which I realized, and I think it is very important when you are competing in district or at a place where you have moved your hometown and you're moving to a different place. The second thing is before the day or just 2 or 3 days before the competition and the speech. One of the things which I realized helped me very much was surround yourself with the people who really motivate you. So when I was going to the district competition, there were a few of the club members. They said, "Hey, we will go to support you." And I was like, "Okay, that's fine. You will come. We will have fun and all that stuff." But trust me, the 3 days I was there at district before the competition, I realized afterwards, if they wouldn't have been there, probably I wouldn't have done that good. Those 3 days, they helped me not only relax, they motivated me. They gave me feedback on some of the things, and they really helped me realize, it's just a speaking contest. There is nothing to lose here. Go and give your best. And it is more important the higher you progress into the competition to have your friends. And now I understand why Toastmaster finals, they invite you and one of your companion for the entry, for the registration. And this is the reason that you take somebody with you, who is there with you, supporting you, motivating you when there are dark moments. I had a lot of them. And lucky for me, I had my club members who really helped me. So that's again another soft thing which we don't realize because I was too confident. Hey, I won the area. I can do it. So there is nothing to be afraid of. That's what I felt at least when I went to, Bahamas. But lucky for me, there was our district members there to help me. So guys, please make sure surround yourself with the people who motivate you. Another thing, which is again a very soft thing, which probably you realize once you are competing, it's very important, or at least for me, it was staying very close to the venue of the competition. Why it was important? So I will give you an idea on the district level. When we were competing in Marrakesh, I was staying in the same hotel. I had a lot of props to use in my presentation. I was nervous. I was sweating like hell during the day because it was a competition time, right? So you all get nervous. So staying close to the venue helped me to go and change, helped me to go and practice one final thing in my room. And it made me relax a little bit. I rested there for a few minutes and then I came down before the competition started. That is something which I missed in the finals because we were staying very far away. I didn't realize to book the hotel in time and we were far away. So I went in the morning. I was sweating again. I was just sitting near the fans like this. You won't believe. I was just trying to, uh, dry my sweat. And that's the time when I realized how important it is to be close to the venue. Guys, I'm just giving you all the tips which I felt, which I think are important, which generally you don't, listen in a communication or how to write a great speech. But these are the little things which made a huge difference. Some of the things I did, some of the things I couldn't do, but they could have made a huge difference for me. And the third thing, which is very important, and I realized that after the district competition, be nice to people. When you are in the district, we are very nice people, Toastmasters, they are great. All of us are great, but be nice to people. You never know who is going to be the judge, who is evaluating you while you are giving your speech. For me, for example, it's just a coincidence, nothing planned. I was flying with somebody who came out to be the chief judge in the competition, right? So imagine if I would have behaved rudely or I wouldn't have cared, I wouldn't have been very friendly. It could have been a different scenario. I really don't know. But I think as there are people who are evaluating, I realize that it's very important when you are in a conference, because the judges are anonymous, you don't know whom you are talking to, be nice to people. On the day of the speech, this is very relevant for the district and the finals and the semifinals. We got to test the stage. I didn't pay importance to that. I was naive. But you could see the people who had competed before, who are professional, they went and moved on each part of the stage. I didn't realize that because I was the first one to use the stage. My number was number one. So I just went, stood there, hello, hi, and everything. For me, that was a stage inspection. But then I saw the winner, Jocelyn. She came on the stage, she moved everywhere. She was testing, it was a wooden stage, and she was testing even where there's a squeaky sound in the stage so that she doesn't go there while she's preparing the speech. She shouted her loud voice, soft voice, everything so that the audio guy could adjust the speech. I didn't do that. And next day, I didn't know what was my high pitch, low pitch, or during the competition. I think it's very important we become familiar with the stage, and you will get a chance when you are in district or in semifinals or in finals to look at the stage to practice for a limited time. But do that. Don't let that opportunity go. Take your time, take your full time. Don't be in a hurry. I missed that bit and I really realized it later. I should have paid more attention to that. Okay. The second thing on the day of the speech, for me was be in the mood. If your speech is funny, watch something funny. If your speech is serious, get into that mood. It's very important to be in the right mood when you are going on the stage. Take your time, there is nobody rushing you, but get into the mood. It's very, very important. Then the last thing while you're giving your speech, I was very nervous before the speech. Jocelyn, she was after me, who was the winner of the last year. She was nervous like hell. She couldn't just sit on the chair where we were supposed to wait for the speaker to finish. But if you have reached to those levels, have confidence in yourself. I realized doesn't matter how much nervous I was, but the minute I entered the stage, all that nervousness went away. If you have if you are competing, you are already in the top 15% of Toastmasters, the brave 15%. Because out of 50,000 people who compete, I don't know how many members are there, but the 15% only compete. As you move further in the round, your percentage becomes less. So the semi-finalists are like 0.5% of the top of the Toastmasters. So one of the things which is very important, remember when you are delivering your speech, you're just telling a story. It was a very big auditorium. I was intimidated, but I thought I'm just going to tell them my story, which I had already prepared. I was well prepared for it, but I was nervous like that. So remember, while you are delivering the speech, you're just telling a story. Why I am saying all these, I know a lot of you are very professional speakers, you have done that multiple times. And as I said, for me, those were the feelings which I felt for the first time. I never felt like that while I was doing the club, area, or district. But when I was on the semi-final stage, looking at the huge auditorium full of people, that really makes you nervous. I was the first one to go, but I told myself that I'm just telling my story. And I think that helped me calm down a little bit. So I think it's very important, guys, while you're delivering your speech, tell your story. Just tell your story. The second thing is, I know there has been a lot of debate in the previous sessions whether you should stay on the script or move away from the script. My tip to all of you is stay with the script. It depends on how good you are. Finishing in time is one of the most important things when you're competing, because you don't know what will happen to other people. So make sure you finish it in time. So for me, I prefer to stick with my script. Whatever I'm saying, I just try to remember it because it's a 7-minute speech, and I just try to deliver that. So for me, it was very important. Luckily, nobody got disqualified in our semifinals. I don't know if anybody else in any other semifinal did, but I think it's very important. It was very important for me to stay on the script because I took 7 minutes and 12 seconds. So if I would have gone a little bit off script or tried to improvise, I would have probably gone out of time. Okay. So, well, my friends, those were my tips from preparing the speech till delivering the speech. If you want to know how to write the content of the speech, there are a lot more better people than me who had already given the sessions. Watch them on YouTube as they're. Ask for help and ask people who can help you to write better content. I will be more than happy to help, but I think ask for a professional speaker who has competed many times and they can help you write better content. Delivery, practice, practice, practice. Okay. I wanted to give you my mantra, but considering my first minute was in silence, like the Indian guru, I will skip that part. But I will just like to say only one thing which I felt. When you go up higher levels in the competition, there are great people who are competing. They are just brilliant. Each one of the finalists, they did great. So when I went in there, I was thinking, hey, I looked at their profile. Maybe he's a Google guy. Maybe he will not do good. Maybe this one, she's a pharmaceutical. I was just trying to do my own analysis. But they are all great people. So you have to really practice up your game. But most important, have self-trust in you that you are a great speaker. Don't let anybody tell you that you are not one of those because you have reached that far or you are competing in areas or district. You are the brave 15% of the whole Toastmasters. Just remember that and go ahead and compete. So guys, those were my tips. I will be more than happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Akhil. Before I open the floor for questions, let me tell you that I loved your approach today. I loved your approach precisely for being the last one, because we didn't have overlapping of knowledge. It is your experience. The tips that you give are so important that it will complement all the tips that we received during this series of Winners Academy. And Akhil, as I said in the beginning, he ran for the first time and went to the semifinals. So any one of you here can be the next world champion, can be. So this is, like Akhil said, don't have the self-doubt, there's self-trust. Now I open the floor for the questions. I have one question from Federico. Guys, it's funnier, it's much better if you open your mic and ask your question. Federico, okay. I know you are a speaker as well, so ask your question.
Should you focus on being funny? Because not everybody can be funny. And I believe that this is something that I see that in the contest, we focus on kind of being comedians more than the speakers.
Yes, it's a very good question, Federico. And in fact, what I will say is what I felt, when I was watching semifinals or the finals. If you are funny, you need to know how to be funny. Otherwise, you will come out as fake. But I think audience prefer to have good time listening to some funny stories than listening to some sad stories. I will just give you an example why. There was one girl in finals. She was the last one. She was giving her speech on video conference. She told a very sad story. Means it was really sad. So I'm sure people understood it, people loved the idea, but it left a taste of sadness. People don't prefer that. So if you have option of being funny, try to be funny. If you don't know how to be funny, practice to be funny. And if you still can't, then just be yourself, what you are good at. But if you have to choose between funny and sad things, choose the funnier side, because that's what 90% of the people will appreciate. In fact, for me, the speech, I realized while I was preparing the speeches, while I was writing, I don't know how many versions I wrote, probably 30, 40 versions of the same speech or different speech. I bugged Isidro, I don't know how many times, to review my speeches. One thing which I realized is writing a speech for a winning competition is like a movie script. Meaning, beginning, nobody understands what is happening, what is going to happen. It's intriguing. Then the story starts. There is a hero, there is a main lead role with some good, funny moments. Then there is a turnaround, there is a sad story, and in the end, it's a happy ending. If you are able to write a speech like that, trust me, it is going to be one of your best works, because that's what a good speech is about. If you listen to all the speeches in the finals, most of the time, it's just the script.
Wonderful. We have Roberto with his hand. Roberto.
Yes. Yeah, sure. Hello. Hey, well, Akhil, hey, nice to see you again. It's always so nice to hear you and learn from all your stories and all. I wanted to ask you about, because you have gone through all the different stages, right? And one of the key things when delivering a speech is this ability to be able to connect with the audience, right? And I'm sure that connecting with the audience at the club level is very different that at the district level, and definitely very different at the semi-final level, right? So how was your experience around the connection with the audience in the different stages? I mean, how did you feel that, and what was your experience around that?
Yeah. So my competition was in Madrid, Marrakesh, and in my case, the area was also in Madrid.
Tangier.
So Marrakesh. Tangier, sorry, Tangier. I was saying Marrakesh because I like Marrakesh. Madrid, Tangier, and Bahamas, right? That was the three places. So in Madrid, it was very easy because, the place where you live, generally, the local context and all that stuff. So it was much easier for me to make jokes about local things, which people make, they felt that they could have lived that. But when you go to a place which is not where you are not from, like Tangier in this case, or Bahamas, where there is international audience, this year it is going to be in California. I think you have to choose a topic, and this is what I felt. Most of the winners or the finalists, they have the topic which was like a very human topic. And I think that is where those guys, they succeed in connecting with people much more easily, because they are talking about something, which could happen to any of the person in the audience. So don't make your speech very context specific. Try to think of the people whom you are going to give. So if you are aiming for the finals, it is going to be in California. Americans, they love a bit of acting. They love a bit of drama. Think about those things and try to prepare your speech. If you think of the audience, I'm sure you will be able to connect much more easily.
Thank you. Before I go into Marilyn, I would compliment to everybody what Akhil just said, which I agree with. Last year in the Winners Academy edition, we had Mike Carr. Mike Carr was the winner in 2020, and he told us that the engagement is more important than the delivery. The engagement with the audience is more important than the delivery. And funny or not, last year I was the judge in a contest. I will not say, just for the sake of not being rude to anyone in the area or division, I will not say. And there was a speech, technically a great speech, technically great story, every steps of the speech. And there was another speech that made people laugh, interact, and so on. I was a judge. I voted for another speech, but I was surprised when the most engaging one won. So it is true. The engagement is very important. As just Akhil said, knowing your audience, knowing the how to use them, the jokes and so on. It's very important. Marilyn, your question.
Yes, thank you so much, Akhil, for sharing your journey with us. It's extremely helpful to hear from people who've been in the trenches. And what I am curious about is, you said when I was preparing for the division, when I was preparing my speech for the division, did you actually come up with new material from level to level, or at what did you have to? At what point did you say, okay, now I know you always have to put on your thinking cap. Each challenge has to feel like it's the first time probably. But I'd like to know a little bit about the actual writing process and discovery process from step to step.
It's a very good question, Marlene, because I think when you are competing, you have to observe with whom you are competing. And in fact, that's what I did. So just to give you an idea, when I was competing at a club level, I had a speech prepared. I gave that speech, I started, I came third. That's fine. I was lucky. When I moved on to the next round, I made sure that I gave a proper delivery. And it was a little bit of emotional subject. I got second place. So the other guy who came first, while I was in the audience, I saw people were laughing. I realized, so two people moved from area to the division level. I realized if I have to beat this guy, I have to be more funny. I can't give the same speech because maybe they're a different audience, but they will always find him more funny. So I changed my speech at the division level, made it much more funnier than my initial speech. And that did the trick for me. Then when I had to go to the district level, my division speech had some local Spanish jokes into it. I didn't realize, I didn't do analysis that I would be giving it in Tangier. So that wouldn't have made the same impact there. So I have to rewrite my speech again. So that's the time when I came up with the district speech. I was giving first time the speech which I wrote in the district championship. It's a bit of a risk, but I couldn't give any other speech which was there before. One was serious, one was too specific context to Spain, and that's how I chose my speech.
And then did you have to change again for the semifinals?
Okay. So as per the competition rules, you can use the same speech from your area, from your club to the semifinals. There is no rule that says that you have to have a different speech. When you move from semifinal to finals, you need to have a different speech.
Oh,
So if you are reaching semifinal stage, you need to have at least 2 speeches prepared. That is another tip which I would like to give to you guys. If you reach division, district, or district, and if you are up into the slot for the semifinals, start thinking about your second speech. I thinking about it so late, and then I got blocked. So it took me a lot of time to write my speech for the finals.
thank you so much.
Akhil?
Yeah, now is your speech available online? I know they automatically put all of the winners
Yes, it will be.
from
I
the
will check and
international.
it should be.
Good.
Akhil, the question that we discussed this already, but I want to ask you this, so to have your answer here. When you go to the semifinals, you have to have 2 speeches. You can use your district speech in the final or in the semifinal. So what do you think it's best? What do you think? Using your district champion speech or your quarterfinal champion speech in the semifinal, or come out with another speech and save your speech which you believe it's the best to the final or something like that? What's your opinion on that?
I don't have I guess nobody has the perfect answer. All the experts I talked, they recommended always to use your quarterfinal speech in the semifinals so that you can at least reach the finals. I was always double-minded. I would have changed my speech if I was very confident about my final speech. I was not very confident. I would have loved to change it. Why? Because when I was delivering my semi-final speech, maybe I did good, I don't know, but I didn't pass through finals, so I don't know. But people gave me the feedback that I did better than the district and better than, before. But I felt it was very repetitive. I think in one of the previous sessions, somebody asked the question, if you keep on giving the same speech again and again, it becomes very repetitive. So the good tip there is I should have changed bits and pieces in my quarterfinal speech to make it a little bit different, to keep my enthusiasm going for that same speech. So in summary, give a little bit of different flavor to it if you want to use the same speech, so that your enthusiasm still stays high. Mine one was like I was just like repeating. I didn't feel that thing, that spark what I felt in district. So it was, that's just my opinion.
Wonderful. Any other question?
I have a question, Isidro, to
Hanan,
Akhil.
go
So
ahead.
Akhil, I am a little bit, I'm curious about the semifinals, because not everyone reached the semifinals. So I want to know your experience, the backstage. So did you have a small talk with other contestants at
Yeah.
semifinals? Did you do a research about the contestant to know with who you will compete? So tell me a little bit more about this.
Very good point, Hanan, and I will love to share that because so the way it works is once we win the district, the video recording of the district goes to the judges and they choose only 2 in Europe. This rule has changed. I think, Isidro, I don't know if it was the
In my
same when you
year,
were there.
it changed in 2019.
Okay, perfect. So the way it works is you win the district 1. So make sure the recording and everything, whoever is organizing the district championship, it's very important that the videos are recorded properly, because those videos will be sent to the judges somewhere in the cloud who evaluate that, and they choose 2 winners out of Europe. Out of all the districts of Europe, only 2 people are chosen. Then you reach to the semifinals. There are 28 people reaching the semi-finals. As and how district winners or the semi-finalists are announced on the webpage of Toastmaster International, they keep updating the semi-final which you are competing in, all the 4 blocks. So I was curious. I always looked, who are the other people? I went to their LinkedIn profile. I went to search. So there was a guy, VP of Google. I said, he will not be very good. Google, who knows how to speak? Somebody else. So that's what I did my research. I made up my mental map of each one of them. And then when you reach to the day before the semifinals, I knew the names of all the people, but not the faces. So we all got together where we were going to draw the slot in which we were going to speak. The slot was drawn by a computer program, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That was the time we chatted with each other for the first time. And obviously, because you are striving, you are competing against them. So you don't give, you just be nice, but you don't talk a lot. A lot of people, they don't talk to each other. There were 2 people in my semifinals who were competing the 7th time, the semifinal. I didn't ask much of those questions, not to be nervous, knowing their credentials. I just left at the names. They drew out the numbers, and then we have to speak the next day in that order. The day just before the speech, we were all prepared. The day before the speech, we were all given the stage to rehearse with. Everybody is given the same amount of time together so that they are not unfair to anybody. And after that, you cannot use the stage. So you get only 5 minutes. Then they lock the auditorium. Legally, you cannot use the stage. It was a hotel, so the auditorium was open. So I know somebody went from our semi-final to go and practice more, but technically you cannot use the stage. Then on the day of the finals, we were all given mics. So just be comfortable. Everybody has to use a mic because they're a big auditorium. And those are portable mics, which you hang, which you put here, and you do that. So the volume was adjusted. So it's very important to practice with the mic because they adjust the volume. There is a sound technician who raises up and low the volume depending on your speech level, depending on your context of the speech or the things which you are saying. And we were all sitting in the front row, not talking to each other, just saying only nice things or smiling at each other. And then one by one, we all finished because all of us were nervous at the time. So that's more or less is the experience. So it's like competing, not talking much. But yeah, some of people, they were trying to make others feel more comfortable and all that stuff.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Any other question? Generally, as a facilitator of this, I generally don't give my advice or something, but since you make it in a different approach, sharing experience, I will just share this. When I knew that I had made it to the semifinals, I started practicing 2 speeches. And my speech in the semifinal was completely different from my speech in the quarterfinals because I started working with a lot of people. I went to different clubs. I received a lot of feedback. And feedback. That's my advice to you. Feedback. Because you don't realize that something that you did is great. It's engaging and funny. And most of all, because it was online. And when you practice in front of people, you realize you have the immediate response. But online is more difficult to realize the effect on people. So feedback given to you, it's very, very important. It is an advice that Larry Cunha gave me, and I follow it, and it was worth it. Raul, your question, please.
Yes, hello, how are you?
How are you?
Can you listen to me? Good,
Yes.
good.
Yes.
Yes, after the last comments that Akhil was doing, suddenly I had some questions for him. Well, the first question is, how important do you think your position in the contest? I mean, you were explaining that during the semifinals you were the first contestant, and if you believe that this has an importance in the contest, and if you act in a different way, being the first one or the last one, or just being in the middle. That is the first one. The second question is related to what you have explained just a few minutes ago about the mic, because normally when we compete in club level or area level, because we compete, the audience is pretty small, we don't use mics. But when you reach the district level, and obviously the semifinals, you start having this type of equipment that you don't have many chances to practice in the previous rounds. I don't know if you practice before those stages. And I had a third question, but I already forgot.
Let me go one by one. So otherwise I will forget the questions. So the question number one, it's very important, Raul. I was thinking, when I said in the beginning, the third important factor you need is a little bit of luck. When I was in the semifinals and they were going to draw, I was hoping that I shouldn't be the first one. I was like, my name starts with A. I cannot be the first one. Because what they did is they put everybody in alphabetical order and then they sorted the draw. So I was already first in the list. I said, I can't be the first one. I didn't want to be the first one. But why I didn't want to be the first one is because I realized that audience needs a little bit of time to warm up. This is just my feeling. To the jokes, to the emotions, to everything. But just before the semi-final starts, people comes in and there is a moderator speaking for 1 or 2 minutes, very serious. And when you are when you are the first one giving the speech, you will not get that much of traction as if you are second or third, because audience is already warmed up. So you cannot choose to be the first one or the second one. It's a lucky draw. If you are the first one, exaggerate much more than what you had already planned. That will help audience warm up much more quicker. But yes, if you are number one, it doesn't mean always to be not very well, but that will be my tip, because you can't choose whether you will be number one. The second question which you asked is about the mic. It's a little bit of thing which you have to be aware that how to practice it before. I didn't practice it because we never used that in the club or in the district. It was a different mic. If you get a chance to practice with that kind of a mic, which TV presenters use, do that. Just be comfortable with it so that you know how the feeling is. It's not very uncomfortable, but it's another factor which you have not practiced before. So remove all those factors which you have a risk of making you fail in the competition. The more factors you remove as a risk, the better your speech will be.
Yes, and now I remember. Well, thank you very much, Akhil. And by the way, as already Isidro commented, I really enjoyed your presentation, because you have spoken about things that we have not experienced, and that is something that when you listen to someone just speaking about those experiences that we haven't had the chance of having, it's fantastic. Because in some way you dream that maybe one day I will be there and I will remember what Akhil said in that webinar. So the last thing is just while you are waiting, well, in this particular case you were the first one, but in other contests you are not the first one. Maybe you are the fourth, the fifth, the last one. How do you control your nerves, or how do you prepare yourself? Because sometimes you are waiting there, and sometimes I see some contestants that they leave the room and they just come in the last minute just to deliver the speech. I guess that they are, I don't know, maybe jumping, or maybe, I don't know, screaming, or I don't know what they are doing, no? But sometimes I have the feeling that while I am waiting, I get more and more nervous. I don't know how you handle this situation.
It depends. For example, in the semifinals, we were not allowed to leave the room. So we have to stay in the front row, listen to them. Everybody has a different technique, of relaxing before. For example, when I was at the district level, I was listening to the speeches because I wanted to listen to those speeches as well to know with whom I am competing. I think it depends on everybody, Rahul. I don't think there is a right or wrong answer. Everybody has a different way of de-stressing or relaxing themselves. Guys, I will just like to share one of the mistakes which I did, which I forgot to mention. I think that really was a blunder I did. When we were in Bahamas, I was with the district leaders. I did not have anybody else with me. So district leaders were all very busy before the day of the speech contest. When I was alone in the Airbnb, all the negative thoughts which I had never thought of, they started coming into my mind. And I was thinking that I will recommend you guys, make sure you are not alone. It's not because you can't handle it. It's just because it helps you relax a little bit more. Suddenly my throat started paining. My mouth was dry. I was coughing. It's just nervousness. But just before the competition, I was fine. But those 10, 12 hours which I passed before the competition, I could have passed it much better and maybe I could have been much more relaxed. So just make sure, guys, you are with somebody who is helping you stay relaxed, motivating you, friend, colleague, anybody.
Yes, surely, surely. Marilyn.
This doesn't. I thought that I heard you say, Akhil, that you are not competing this year. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now you were in a group where two of the people were competing for the 7th time. Is that right? I mean, what?
Yes.
So I guess it's a one question with two parts. One is why are you not competing? And part two is, how did competing change your view of where you want to go in Toastmasters, and what do you want to do as a speaker?
I will answer the second one first because I think it's important. When I joined Toastmasters, I joined it for fun. But for me, last year journey has really opened my eyes what Toastmaster is. I didn't know before last year what Toastmaster is. For me, it was just a club where people go practice their communication skills. And that's all. But when I met so many different people in all these different conferences, I realized I think there are a lot of people who want to make a difference in Toastmasters, not only in Toastmasters, but outside. That's why they are in Toastmasters, because they just want to improve. For them, it's not about competition, not to be the best speaker, but just about being better, being a better person. Mm-hmm. I met so many wonderful people in Bahamas, so many great people. You just listen to their story, even though they are not giving any speech. It's so motivating. It's just unbelievable. I realized that Toastmaster is much more than that. And one of the things which I will love to do is to help people to be able to compete, to reach up to that level, to win finals, to mentor people, because I think my experience, what I gained, I'm a little bit more detailed person. So I look at all these little nitty-gritty things, which sometimes, we don't realize that it matters, but they do matter. So for me, the whole idea of coming here, giving the session was not to tell you how to write a perfect speech. You're all wonderful speakers. You will all do great because we are doing that for many years. But I just wanted to share those things which I wish somebody would have told me in that much depth. Practice on the stage. Don't be shy. practice on the microphone. So I thought I will just share that with you, and I will love to keep on doing it. Why I'm not competing? Your first question. I just thought last year was for me. It's not. I will not call it stressful, but yes, it. I was, let's say, a little bit more worked up than normally I should be, because it was my first time and I was reaching that stage. I couldn't believe I am reaching that stage. And every time I have to prepare much harder because I didn't know what is going to happen. So this time I thought I will take a break. Maybe I will just help people. If anybody wants my help, I will be more than happy. And maybe next year or next 2 years, I will compete again.
I gather from your answer to the first part that your commitment to Toastmasters goes beyond specific accomplishments that you can do on the ladder, climbing a ladder of a pathway or not. But so I'm hopeful that we'll see you in district leadership roles and
that I don't know, but yes, I will love to contribute to whatever I can.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Akhil, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Based on my own weakness. The contest that I was more nervous in my life was in my club after being the district champion. Yes, because after being the district champion, I was, what if I am so lousy that I will doubt myself and say, I won by lucky, or I was lucky by luck. So you inside, deep inside, it's not, you're not fearing these, like, I've made it to the semifinals. Should I compete again? And maybe.
I think, Isidro, that was a dirty secret. I wanted to keep to myself. But you put it out. Yes, I do have that feeling, because, when you create such a benchmark, or you don't yourself create, but people look at you at such a high level. So yes, I become very nervous now when I have to give a speech. For example, before this session, I was nervous. I had given many of those sessions in my work and all. I don't get that nervous, but when people look at you, you don't want to, how do you say, you don't want to fail them. That's the fear you have. And I think that makes you a little bit weak, but yeah, we have to overcome that. But yes, that was the dirty secret.
It's funny. It's funny.
It's funny. Yeah, it happens, but it's true. Guys, I'd just like to close, in the beginning, there was something which I was chanting, which you couldn't hear because I was on mute. But that's something which I use. It's a Sanskrit chant. It's called Gayatri Mantra. It's something which I chant whenever I'm doing something challenging or starting something challenging. I just do that to keep myself calm. The meaning of that chant, at least I was told, is that it will bring success and happiness to you. So the reason why I call this session Mantra of Oneself, all of you, all of us, that's one thing which I've realized after competing. Each one of us has a different style. Whether we go to the next level or not, whether we reach to district division, it doesn't mean you're not a good speaker. Because I have seen people who are brilliant than me, much better than me, not moving to the next round. It doesn't mean they are not good speakers. It just means that they had a bad day that day. I will recommend all of you have a little bit of your routine or something. And now I understand why a lot of successful people or professional athletes, they do that. It's not superstition. It's just something which you hang on to make sure that it is going. It just calms you down. So that's what I will suggest. It's my mantra. I chant that before doing it. I don't even know what real meaning is, but it just helps me calm down. So if you guys are competing, moving, doing challenging tasks, build a little routine, a simple one which you can do. It will help you calm down. whatever little stupid thing it is. It will help you. That will be my mantra to you guys. And that's all from my side. I'm more than happy to help anybody who needs anything I can guide with, I can help.
Thank you, Akhil. Wonderful, 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 wonderful. So, Hanan, I give the floor, the virtual floor to you to close this wonderful session.
Thank you, Isidro. I'm happy and sad at the same time because it's the last session. And thank you very much. We have here some members who attended all the sessions of the Winners Academy. And for the others who couldn't, tomorrow, all the recording of the 6 sessions, you will find them on the YouTube channel. You just have, I'm going to share now the link on the chat box. Just put District 107 on the YouTube. Percy, Roland, and Kirsten, their videos are already there. Tomorrow, all the others' videos. And thank you, Akhil, and to all other facilitators and to all other guests. You give me this motivation to compete. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to compete this year. I hope I will compete next year. Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you to everyone. Isidro, if you want to add something else.
Bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Good night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye,
Akhil.
everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.